Frequently asked questions number 2. Can solar cause fire? Solar, fire, solar, fire, la, yeah. They kind of rhyme, you know, but that doesn't expressly mean that solar causes fire. But the truth is, as with all other electrical and electronic appliances and devices, when solar setups are exposed to unfavorable environments and conditions, they could ignite a fire. And I'm going to quickly reel out some of those unfavorable conditions that could cause a fire on your solar setup. Stay tuned. Now, I have grouped these unfavorable conditions into 4 P's and 1 O. And P number 1 is poor design. A major part of design has to do with the sizing of the major and the minor components that make up your solar setup. And this covers your batteries, the inverter, the solar panels, the cables, the charge controller, and the SPDs, and as well as the circuit breakers. Now, when these components are not properly sized and then push comes to shove, they tend to heat up and sometimes result in unexpected component failures and even a fire outbreak. P number 2, poor installation. Now, a typical solar installation consists of all the components that I had just reeled out. These components are usually brought together with the aid of conductors. An example of a conductor is the cables, the wires. Now, these wires are terminated at various terminals, and if they are not done properly, that is tightened firmly, they tend to generate heat at those terminals, and that heat could sometimes result in smoking and could degenerate into actual flames. P number 3, poor quality. Now, you could choose the right size of components, the right size of cable, for instance. But if you choose the wrong quality of cable, you could still have the problem of fire. Now, I've heard some people say wire is wire, but wire is not wire because electricity does not flow through every metal. There are pure conductors, good conductors that allow for the free flow of electricity. And anything short of that results in, can you say friction? Better still, we call it resistance. And this resistance causes heat, and the heat could turn into flames. P number 4, poor ventilation. Components such as the battery and the inverter device itself work better in spaces that are well ventilated. Now, when you install your setups in places that are airtight and lack proper ventilation, you are making it difficult for these systems to maintain a favorable internal working temperature. And this results in component failure and sometimes could result in a fire outbreak. And the last on the list, which is not the least on the list, is an O, which stands for overloading. Now, is it possible to load a trailer on a sport car and expect the sport car not to compress? No, it's not possible. Is it possible to load 200 liters of water in a 100-liter container? If you force it, the container would definitely explode. As it is with cars and with water-carrying containers, every solar setup has a maximum load carrying capacity which must be respected. When you abuse the load carrying capacity of your solar setup, you set them up for overheating and sometimes a fire outbreak. Now, as an end user, how do you mitigate against a possible fire erupting from a solar system that costs you so much to set up? There is one fundamental step that you can take that could solve 70% of the problem. Now, what's that? Getting a professional who does not only understand how to install, but also understands what to use for the installation and why to or not to use what for the installation. Now, the remaining 30% falls on you and again the installer. How? It is your responsibility to provide a well-ventilated space for your installation and to ensure that you do not cluster that space post-installation with things that need not to be there, and to ensure that if there's a window, the window is always left open. On the issue of overloading, it is first the installer's job to properly size the components. That takes us back to design. After the installation has been done, the onus is on you, the user, to ensure that you do not overload it. Kindly follow us across our social media platforms, like, comment, and engage with this content to encourage us and to ensure that it gets to other people. We could be saving a life, Stay tuned for other enlightening contents. Bye-bye.